Do you think psychopaths and sociopaths are actually rare or underdiagnosed? Just finished this book called Sociopath, a memoir written by a clinical psychologist, a therapist who is a diagnosed sociopath. And she claims that a lot of people who think they're sociopaths aren't. She calls them sociopaths. And a lot of them are in industries that are known for being cutthroat. So what's really interesting about this book is that she goes through her life from being a little girl to now. And she tells you about all this deviant behavior she's done, how she struggled with it, the pressure she felt to act out because she couldn't feel anything. And her father worked in the music industry. She's like extremely privileged, and at least she acknowledges it. And so she gets adopted into the music industry. She's a music manager for like artists in LA while she's going to school getting her psychology Ph.D. before and during. And she talks about how many people, when she disclosed she was a sociopath, claimed they were too, but what they claimed wasn't actually sociopathy. She defines sociopathy as struggling to feel and having apathy, but she describes what she saw in the music industry as power hoarding and violence. She said she'd disclose and people would come forward with all these violent fantasies they had and be like, oh, I'm just a sociopath. And she calls them sociopaths. And she says because they do this, that real sociopaths struggle to get help. Because she talks about she tried to check herself into an institution to keep her from doing bad things. She tried to go to a therapist. She tried to do all these things. And they literally didn't accept sociopaths or distinguish them from psychopaths. And her research is part of what has continued to help our understanding of this. But I found that very interesting that she talks about the stigma of being a sociopath and the lack of access to care, even with her privilege of wealth, but how prevalent and normalized, even glorified it was in some industries. And she's like, that's just power hoarding. Power hoarding is a tenet of white supremacy culture. It's rampant in organizations unless intentionally deconstructed. Being power hungry doesn't mean you don't feel. It just means you want power more than everything, and that makes you feel happy and you don't feel bad about stepping on other people to do that. She starts the book with saying that there are more sociopaths than we realize, that it is more common than we realize. It is so stigmatized people don't come forward. But she makes a clear distinction between sociopathy and power hoarding and violence, which I thought was really interesting. Also note that I am showing you Storygraph in the background and not Goodreads. Goodreads is owned by Amazon. Storygraph is owned by a Black woman. Send a fuck you to the billionaires today by switching to Storygraph or something similar. I don't get paid to tell you to say this, but I get asked all the time, how can we, change economic inequality? We can stop giving people money who are abusing us. It's an easy change. It's, you can export out of Goodreads and import into Storygraph. It took me less than 5 minutes. Even if you don't pay for the service, you are the product then. Stop giving Bezos data.